While I and probably you live and breathe I feel like the world at large is aware of it, but I feel like some people still associate it with, like, there's a boogeyman effect to it, like Skynet, for instance. So my name is Minh Tran. I'm a technical product marketer with Clarifai. My job is to sit in between that bridge between product and marketing, kind of translate all the marketing stuff to our product side and translate all the technical stuff from our product side to our marketing team, and then figure out how to, share that with the rest of the world. So at Clarify, we are all about AI. More specifically, we've started more focusing on the model serving and deployment side of things. So letting organizations and developers scale up those models based off of traffic and scale them down, more importantly, while also having a lot of optimizations under the hood, keeping it up and running when you need it, keeping it scaled down and cost efficient when you don't need it, and just getting the most out of your GPUs, whether that's in the cloud, in your own private VPC, or if you're running on-prem. Clarifai provides complete data sovereignty and allows you to lower your costs by giving the controls more directly to the user.
So Clarifai has been around since 2013. How has the company evolved now that ChatGPT has exploded and the general uptake of AI and machine learning skyrocketed?
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. Because like you said, Clarify has been here for a decade plus, and when we first started, our initial goal was more about democratizing the training of AI models, specifically computer vision. And by democratizing, I mean we try to make our platform easy for domain experts, not so much the AI professionals or like AI researchers or developers, but just normal domain experts in whatever field they might be in. They could come to Clarify, upload images, label them, and then at a click of a button, train computer vision models based off of their own criteria, their own taxonomies. And then Clarify will handle the model training, evaluation, and the deployment of it. So after you go through that process, we provide a simple API that you can just call and just have send all of your data through those models. And that's how we started. And over the years, especially with the rise of LLMs, that's kind of forced us to kind of change and adapt to the just constantly evolving AI market. Because with these large models, either LLMs or VLMs, vision and language models, you don't really need to do that custom training so much anymore, because these massive models have been just so filled with knowledge, like pre-trained knowledge, that they can do mostly everything. And while custom training is still a very integral part of our platform, especially for any agencies or organizations that have very niche computer vision needs that foundational models wouldn't pick up on, one way we've adapted is to also shift more into that model deployment and model serving side. When I was discussing like classic Clarify or vintage Clarify, I'll call it, I said that, we kind of handle the model deployment and just kind of wrap it all up in a nice API. And that's was traditionally done all behind the scenes / under the hood. But now we're kind of exposing more and more of that in what we're calling compute orchestration, which lets users, developers, organizations come in, and they can either train their models on Clarify, or they can bring their own models, whether they've trained it themselves or whether they've pulled it from the open source research community. They can bring that to Clarify and deploy it within Clarify. And we're using the same optimizations that we've kind of developed under the hood for our own needs over the past decade, such as model scaling based off of traffic usage, and a bunch of different optimizations under the hood to kind of really maximize the GPUs that we're using if you're using our SaaS, but also if you deploy something through like a dedicated compute or connect to your own VPCs, you can also use those same optimizations that we've built into our new feature called compute orchestration.
What's a surprising use case that somebody's built with Clarifai?
More recently, we've been doing a lot of more sports analytics, so tracking players as they move around the field, and also just kind of using that to calculate just interesting stats with them, such as like who has the ball hand, or ball holding time, and also trying to measure different distances. So just trying to use AI to power a lot of the stats and metrics that people kind of really love about sports.
Are you a sports guy?
I it's been forced into me. I grew up in Texas,
Mhm.
so every Friday was just Friday night football. Have I brought that with me into my adult life now that I've moved away from Texas? Not so much. I'm purely a fair weather fan.
Well, yeah, in a lot of ways, sports are stats, and nerds love stats. So, yeah.
You do?
You support deployments in air-gapped environments and like edge cases, right? What are the advantages of that? Like, what are the best use cases for that?
Fantastic question. I'd say there's probably two, maybe three main advantages that come to my mind when I think about uh, just clarifies different deployment availabilities. SaaS, which everyone has, slash, which is where all the public LLMs kind of live. That's more just for easy adoption of it. But when it comes to deploying either on-prem or in private VPCs, I think the real advantage there is data sovereignty. Um, AI is still relatively new. I say that because while I and probably you live and breathe AI, I feel like the world at large is aware of it, but I feel like some people still associate it with like, there's a boogeyman effect to it. Some people
Mhm.
still think like Skynet, for instance. But main advantage there is just data sovereignty, making sure that whatever information you're sending to the LLMs, that you have control or you just know where it's going. So if you're sending it to an on-premise server, you know that all the data is living within your network. It's not leaving, it's not breaching the outside world. Similar with VPCs, we're just sending information to that VPC that you might have. So one of the main advantages there is just, like I said, data sovereignty. Another advantage is really about cost. LLMs are pricey, or they can be. They're very token hungry. And when you have LLMs deployed into the cloud, for instance, whether that be SaaS or VPCs, as you start using them, they generate a lot of tokens, and that can lead to just kind of unexpected cloud billings, or that can lead to unexpected cloud cost, just because those tokens are kind of very hard to predict, rather than having like a one-to-one, like, if I send a request to a computer vision model and I say like, hey, is this not safe for work, for instance, it just kind of responds with yes. So that's like one quick inference, very predictable. With LLMs, if I ask it a question, it could either respond with yes, or it could respond with like 30 different pages explaining why this is not safe for work. So when you bring LLMs into on-premise or within your own servers, you're not at the mercy of all those cloud costs. You're not locked into any specific CSP, and yeah, really, it's just about managing control of your cost, whether that be in the cloud or whether that be on-prem. You just have better control over costs.
What types of users are getting like most value out of Clarify? Like startups, enterprise clients, individuals?
Traditionally, I think we've been targeting more enterprises and larger organizations, whether that be in the commercial sector or in the public sector. And that's because Clarify, we're more focused on the ability to just scale up and down all of your traffic. So with smaller developers, they're probably less concerned about that. But with organizations, that is top of mind because uh, like I said earlier, LLMs are expensive, GPUs are expensive, and trying to keep all those organized, you want to have a good overview of where all of your costs and where all of your resources are going towards. So a lot of organizations love working with us because we present those different, well, we call it the control panel, but or control center, but it's a single pane of glass that lets you just see where all of your traffic is going, get a sense of all of your usage and cost. But with one of our new features, local runners, that's actually allowing users to deploy their models locally, which isn't new. But what's new there is that when you deploy your models locally, we also connect your local model to an externally available and accessible public URL. So now Through that, you have more access, or you can provide more access to your locally running models. So if I have an AI model or an MCP server running on my local machine, I can open it up to the rest of the world so they can use it. But I'm doing that securely because it's still running through Clarify's platform. So we still have our role-based access controls, our audit logging, our credential requirements like that. So there's still an extra layer of security, even though I'm just kind of allowing external users to kind of access my internal slash locally running models.
Gotcha. So you provide lower cost and a much higher degree of control.
Exactly.
How do you see the role of automation platforms like Activepieces evolving alongside platforms like Clarifai?
Yeah, I think automation software, much like Activepieces, can work hand in hand with Clarify. So where Clarify would provide or be an inference provider slash provide LLMs, um, or even allow you to upload your own LLMs to the cloud or to your local servers and have them available. Where I think Activepieces really fits in is more just the integration with everything else. And I'll show that in one of our later flows, but as a software developer myself, I know I can probably sit down and hammer out a script to do a lot of what I want to do. But along with that, you kind of need to manage like a lot of different integrations. So if I wanted to reach out to my email, for instance, I'd need to authenticate with Google. If I wanted to send something to Slack, I need to handle authentications through Slack as well. And I feel like hey, that's just a lot of things to juggle. And when I was working with active pieces, it just seemed so seamless setting up those connections, setting it up once, and just kind of using it very easily without having to constantly deal with all that authentication um, complications. So yeah, I very think active pieces will kind of be the glue that helps more low code, no code, non developers very easily access AI and incorporate that into their own personal workflows without needing to code up something or without needing to uh, bother software developers or infrastructure or infra engineers so they can actually spin up and stand up all of this.
Yeah, and if you want to have total data sovereignty and you want to use automations and LLMs, then you can run Activepieces locally and you can use Clarify and just have control over everything.
Exactly.
Your Funko Pops, which is your favorite Funko Pop in the background?
My current favorite anime, which is Jujutsu Kaisen, that's where this guy's from. Same with my Funko Pop. This is one of the bad guys, Mahito. He's kind of a jerk. He likes to explode people. So we don't stand him, but I enjoy his character.
Do I look like an anime character?
Only when you do that. Only when you're blinking.
Or just some sparkles like
Add some blush.
All right, so you've built a flow with Activepieces. Let's jump into that. Show us what you built.
So this is a flow I built in a attempt to kind of build out a proof of concept on whether active pieces can kind of solve an issue that had come up in a internal conversation we had where our sales team was saying that like since we have so many different pathways for customers to reach out to us, such as like external or shared Slack channels, Discord, Intercom, HubSpot, anything through our website. It's just kind of difficult to juggle all of those. So the question came up of on whether there was a way to kind of better aggregate all of these different sources of or all these different channels and send them to one central location. So our sales team didn't have to monitor everything. They can just monitor one central place and have that as a single source of truth. So the flow I made to try to address that issue was this one right here, where it monitors a single Slack channel. I imagine you can swap out this trigger with any other ingress that you want. So HubSpot, Intercom, a webhook, for instance. But for now, I'm monitoring a single Slack channel, and any new message that comes in, I'm passing that message to a Clarify hosted text classification model. Specifically, this is just a sentiment analysis one. So it'll take in that message and make a determination on whether the message or the sender is, happy, angry, mad, needs some urgent attention or not. Based off of that sentiment, we're sending it through a little router that sends it into two, well, technically three different paths. If the feedback is positive, I'm just responding with a nice Slack reaction. And if it's negative, that's where the rest of this path takes us. So what I'm doing here is at the end, the goal is to ping one of our customer success engineers or customer service managers and tell them that, hey, we have a customer that's sent us a not so happy message. Can we respond to them in a quick manner? So that's the end goal anyway. In between here, though, I've also set up some or started playing with a couple different extra routers and extra steps in it. Because obviously, Clarify, we are a global company with global customers. So feedback can be coming in any time of day. What this does is I'm just trying to get the current date time, filtering it through just to isolate the time. And based off of the time, started experimenting with just a couple different if thens. So if the message comes in before noon, we can send it to someone that's awake and online at that point. Or if it's coming in, at a different time, we can send it to a different person. So ideally, I would continue fleshing this out for just different time zones just to make sure we have full coverage. With all of this allows us to just kind of more instantly alert and respond to any incoming feedback from potential customers or existing customers.
Is it binary, so only positive or negative, or is there like a neutral sentiment?
There is a neutral sentiment, and that's why I had this router split it into three things. Because I know by default you can just define one of them and everything else will go into otherwise.
Mm.
So with the text classification model I'm using, it responds with positive sentiment, negative, and neutral. If it's positive, I'm just responding with like a party emoji, really. And if it's neutral, at the moment, I'm doing nothing with it. As I continue developing this, we'll figure out where to put neutral sentiments. But for now, I'm more focused on the negative ones because those are the more
Yeah.
well important ones in my mind. We don't want to lose customers.
Absolutely. This is super smart. I especially love the routing to different time zones. I think you could do a ton with that.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, and another flow that I was experimenting with previously, I saw that you can actually link these up with a Google Sheet, and within that sheet, I can define time zones, list out people, and kind of easily connect that to this flow as well. So, Activepieces really makes it easy to just kind of customize this to a very detailed degree, really.
Awesome. Tell me more about this classified text model.
Sure. So this model itself is a very simple classification model. It's not an LLM, so it's very lightweight. And I specifically chose this one because it's super small and lightweight. And I find those kind of models are very, very great for just doing basic if-thens with just to kind of route it to different places. But if I go to the model itself, it's just a social media sentiment analysis model that we had. Honestly, we probably pulled it from Hugging Face. Yeah, we probably just pulled it from the online research community or the open source research community. But yeah, simple text classifier.
Yeah, are you able to show me what it looks like in Slack?
Yeah, if I pass in something, let's just pass in I love active pieces. Started working with it past week or so and really enjoyed the simplicity of it. So pass in or send a message to my Slack channel. The flow should be monitoring this channel and it should go through our text classification model, figure out that it's a positive sentiment. And what I told it to do was just respond with a party emoji. So here you can see that active pieces responded to this message with just an emoji.
Is it possible if you could analyze the text of the message to figure out if it matches up with any existing Slack emojis and then respond with like a relevant emoji? So like the Garfield message, it could like add a little cat.
Yeah, so I went to the Slack piece, added my connection, put it into the channel, which is loading, but it'll pop up. I'm passing in the initial Slack message or the Slack timestamp here, just so it knows which message to respond to. Then you can pass in just a reaction.
So you could totally this would be insane to do. But you could look at the message, interpret it, and then you could match up the content to a list of potential Slack emojis and then just with the data selector put in whatever emoji that puts out into the add reaction step, and so that it would look like a person chose an emoji. That could be really cool. I don't think you should do that. I think that would take a lot of time.
Yeah, I don't think it would be or it'd be a neat experiment, but yeah, I think that's actually probably very easy to do. If I take the original message, get it down this route, I can probably pass it to an LLM at this point just to more easily make those connections between message and emoji. I added the Google Sheets thing here. I'm sure I'd need to pass in all the different emojis available within Slack. Um, but then once I get to the reaction bit, as opposed to me just manually typing in the emoji I want to respond with, I can probably use, like you were saying, the data selector and probably pass in the LLM's response to it once I actually, get it all connected. But I can have the LLM look at the message, look at the different emojis I have, and then kind of find the right one, and then pass that on, and then I can pass on the LLM's response into the reaction name using the data selector.
Yeah, you probably need to put a few safeguards in the prompt. Like I was building an RSS feed reader. So
Mm.
like takes RSS feeds, just a ton of them, converts them into like the top 10 news stories. And in the email it would add an emoji before each title. And I had to explicitly tell it to stop putting ghost emojis in news stories about where people die.
Oh no.
I know, and it because that's like, 'cause that's where it wanted to go with it. That makes sense at, like, a fundamental level, but in, like, a more nuanced emotional reasoning level, you kinda have to tell it, "Hey, maybe don't do that." But yeah, that could be a super funny.
Yeah, that's one of the fun things about LLMs that I don't think people that, don't live and breathe AI a lot, need to understand is this there's so much prompting and prompt engineering going on behind the scenes just to make sure you're, you know, telling it to do the right thing or do return a response that you prefer slash uh engage with it, in your task with the way you want it to.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you think of Active Pieces? Like, how'd you enjoy using the platform?
I enjoyed using active pieces. The first thing I did, and I'm just gonna plug you on YouTube, is I went to YouTube, saw the Active Pieces 101 playlist, and just watched all those videos. So when I first jumped in, it was pretty intuitive. As a software developer myself, I felt like I could probably spend, a day or two or three, or more, coding up like the flow that I was showing. What I really enjoyed about active pieces was just how flexible it was in the flow creation process. Anywhere I paused and thought like, man, I really need like a little connecting piece here that can either, just filter down my email, for instance, or a little connector here that just, has a nice if then and then connects to like, uh, any other piece, so like Google, for instance. I really liked how Active Pieces just A had all those different connections and B managed the authentications behind them all. And that's something I would not want to juggle on my own, just juggling all the credentials to log in and authenticate all of that.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
No problem. Thanks for having me. So at Clarify, we're all about mm, we all about
ChatGPT says Clarifai is a comprehensive AI platform designed to help developers and organizations build, run, and manage production grade AI applications, especially those dealing with unstructured data like images, video, text, and audio.
can you message that to me?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, ChatGPT.